UFC 148, one of the most highly anticipated rematches in MMA history. The main event, Chael Sonnen, the American Gangster, versus Anderson Silva, the Spider. This fight's going down tomorrow. It's gonna be no joke. And we all saw in their first fight, Chael Sonnen. We all know that he dominated that fight. Dominated. I gave him all 5 rounds. All 5 rounds. But I think it was like a minute and 30 something left. I could be wrong. Anderson Silva, man, caught him with that triangle armbar submission, and that was it. So, and Chael Sonnen, man, he's gonna be coming back more hungry, more determined. He says that he wants to break Anderson Silva's teeth. He wants to knock all his teeth down his throat. He wants to break his arms. He wants to break his legs and all this stuff. I'm not hating on Sonnen. I mean, he talks trash good, and he promotes himself very well, and he builds himself up very well. And but I tell you what, man, I have to give this fight to Anderson Silva. And Sonnen's great, man, but I just think Silva is just greater. And I'm not saying Sonnen's gonna put up a good fight, because he is gonna put up a good fight. But in the end, I see another submission. I say by like around 3 or 4, he's gonna get him in another submission. And originally, this fight was supposed to take place in Brazil in UFC 147, but unfortunately it got moved. And I have to say that Chael Sonnen, man, is very, very lucky because he talked all this trash to Anderson Silva's, like coach, his trainers, his family, his wife, his children, and the cherry on the top. He talked like a bunch of trash about Brazil. And he's very, very lucky, man, that he's not going to Brazil, man, because Brazil's no joke, man. They'll kill your ass. I mean, the stadium where if they were going to fight there in Rio, it's 80,000 fans. I believe that if he would have went there would have been a riot. No lie, there would have been a riot. And all I have to say is that he's just lucky he didn't go to Brazil, man. But it seems like Sonnen's weakness is actually getting caught in that triangle armbar or triangle chokehold, or whatever you want to call it. Because when he fought Forrest Griffin back in IFC, and Forrest Griffin caught him in that as well. But I can guarantee you that Sonnen he's going to be prepared for that. And as soon as they go into the first round, this is what I see in Silva, that Silva cannot go straight to him. Silva's gonna have to move around that octagon a lot. He's got to make Sonnen work. And I believe that in order for Sonnen to win, he's gonna have to fight a near perfect fight. Pretty much an absolutely perfect fight. There's no in between. And when it comes to somebody like an elite fighter like Anderson Silva, there's just no way. Silva's gonna have to move around a lot, man, and Sonnen is a great striker, man, but I believe that in the end that Silva's gonna catch him again, and that's gonna be all she wrote. And this fight is either gonna make Sonnen or it's gonna break him. But I mean, anything could happen, man. I mean, you guys clearly remember the Brock Lesnar Frankie Mir match. If you guys remember in a post-fight interview in his locker room, Brock Lesnar clearly said that he felt like he gave him that fight, and I honestly felt like Sonnen gave him that fight. If Sonnen was more prepared, he could have got out of that. He could have tried his hardest to get out of that. I mean, that triangle armbar submission or the chokehold, or whatever it is, that's very hard to get out of. But I do feel like Sonnen gave him that fight. I mean, in MMA, I feel like winning a fight and defeating a man is two different things. You could win. You could win. You could win a fight on the scorecards by 1 point. I mean, don't get me wrong. At the end of the night, it's all gonna matter whose arm is raised at the end, you know. But defeating a man is one thing, and winning is another. Like, even though Silva won that fight, I felt like Sonnen had defeated him. But in the end, man, when you have one fighter who's so hungry and so determined, and you got such a great pound for pound like best fighter like Anderson Silva, it's basically just going to boil down to who's more well trained, who's more knowledgeable in the ring, and there's just so many different factors that's going to play into this fight. But it's going to be a good fight, man. I highly recommend you guys don't miss this one. So I'll say this. I'll say this again. I got this one going to Silva. That's just my opinion. I think Sonnen's great for the sport, but this fight's either going to make him or break him, I believe, and that's all it's going to be down to. So I will be doing a post-fight video. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.